Good morning, Patricia. How are you today?
Very good. How are you, Warren? Thank you for having me.
Thank you for the time. So, Patricia, you've created quite an awesome agency. Tell me
Thank
about
you.
your agency and how and your success.
Oh my God. So yesterday we were actually having our customer appreciation party, and we were celebrating 13 years in business, and also a lot of changes coming because, New Year is very soon, and we have many changes in the agency. Um, we have a lot of good services coming up, especially with AI, and we are just excited for the future.
Boy, that's so true. Like the way advertising is changing, I think it's probably the uh,
Mm-hmm.
most dynamic business there is out there. And if you fall asleep for 6 months, you're out of luck, right?
You're out, yes. Especially if you don't stay consistent, you're out. And I feel like if you don't leverage all the new technology that's coming, you're also leaving a lot of money on the table. Because
Mm.
what happens is that technology is just helping us be more effective with the campaigns, right? So it's really helping us. The analysis that we used to do manually, like looking at the numbers, now it can be automated so you can make faster and like quicker decisions, right? So you can see the results, the analysis, and you can take action right away. Something that before you had to do manually. So I think that's really where the big bucks are.
I remember with Nielsen ratings and sitting
Mhm.
at the TV station,
Yes.
they had the spreadsheet on and we're writing down the numbers
Oh,
and figuring
wow.
out the percentages. And
Well,
then
I never filled out the reports, but I've used the reports.
well, filling out the Nielsen reports, and when you go to when they go to the actual diaries and look at them in Florida, it's very
Mhm.
frightening that TV
Oh, wow.
ratings were based on that. So tell me about AI. You mentioned AI. How are you going to use AI in your business for the future? What do you see? And I get the learnings, but for the average Joe out there, what does that mean?
Have you heard about programmatic advertising? Okay.
Yes,
So we'll
but
explain it a little bit. Yes.
yeah,
So
please for the people that
programmatic
don't know.
advertising is basically instead of you running an ad, let's say on Instagram, and then running a similar ad on LinkedIn, and then the other one on Google, and then on Spotify or whatever, any other platforms, you can run all of those ads from one place, everything at the same time. And on top of that, AI will help you optimize which platform is connecting best with your audience and which platform is actually generating the best results. So that's basically, in a very, very short summary, what programmatic advertising is, right? So basically, you are advertising now based on the audience, how it should always be, not based on your platform.
Well, you did a better job of explaining programmatic than most folks I've met. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
The simple explanation is often the best one. And so using AI to automate that process and learn and pick the best spots is
Mhm.
a good application of AI, correct?
Yes, yes, because it's kind of like when you put the customer first. Like a lot of companies are very customer centric, right? But when it comes to advertising, they kind of like throw that away from the window and they're like, okay, we're going to be advertising on LinkedIn and here because we think that's where we should be. We think that that's where our audience is, but we don't really have the data behind to back it up. With programmatic, you have more actual data, right? I mean, you're doing educated guesses, don't get me wrong, on the previous, right? Like you kind of have a feeling like, okay, LinkedIn is 100% professional. Yes, let's do it there. But you'll be surprised that you may have more success on a different platform or a different blog or a website where you're running an ad, or on YouTube without even knowing. So it really changes and can change the results for companies. Mhm.
That's awesome. Okay, so how do you go from an idea of starting an advertising agency to 13 years later having this wonderful, successful firm?
That's such a long story. So I started the agency when I was, 26. But before that, I started another agency when I was 20 back home in Bolivia. So I'm originally from there. So if you know a little bit of my story, and I'll give you again the summary just for sake of time. Unfortunately, I lost my mom when I was 12, and she had a after school program, a tutoring business. in
Okay.
Bolivia. So I started running her business along with my siblings when I was 12. But I was the one that's very organized. I will keep track of everything.
When you were
So
12.
when I was 12, oh yeah, I
Wow.
will put stickers everywhere. And I still do. I still do, like on everything, like on my notes, I will put stickers on everything. So that's how we keep track. But we kept losing clients, right? Like our students will not be renewing contracts and whatnot. And we didn't understand why. So I like painting too. So I will do that to sell painting. So I'm very creative, always been. So when it was time for me to go to school, I chose marketing because it was a perfect combination of business and the creative side, which is what I really loved. So that was very easy. So I chose that, and then 2-3 years in my career, my mom's best friend at the time, she was very close to us. Actually, she was more family than any other family member. And I will see her work so hard, like 5 a.m. till 10 p.m. So I approached her and I was like, hey, Tia, would you run a business with me? I'll handle marketing and admin and you handle operations, because that was her job. And that's how we started a branding company. So we will do all like branded products, uniforms, like promotional products, all of that, graphic design. So we will do all those services in Bolivia. We started it when I was 20, 21, and that's still running till today. So of course, when I moved here, starting this agency was never like, should I do it? It was more about when am I going to do it?
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's amazing. So
Yes.
what you had to have ups and downs, and you had to have non-believers in you and what you could accomplish in your vision. How do you work through those challenges?
I think you just need to play deaf.
I love it. Ignore, play deaf. I don't hear
Never
anything.
stop being a child. Play deaf sometimes. I think you need to look at the people when you're receiving advice. Be thankful for the advice because it could be good advice, but then look at that person's background. So don't get business advice from someone who doesn't own a successful business. Don't get, career advice from, and like that, right? So it's just look at that person's background.
I
Because
love that.
when people is giving you advice, they're giving it from a place of love. But the problem is that it comes a little bit tainted with their own fears. So you're still giving love. So be grateful for that, because they're so worried that you're going to fail. And, receive that love, but be your own person and be like, okay, should I get this advice or not? Does this make sense? And that's it.
That's brilliant. I love it. Yeah. Keep your eye on the prize. So what does your agency look like when it's finished?
Oh my God, it's a global agency. That's how it's going to look when it's finished. So right now I'm really focused on opening different markets in the US, but we have clients that are nationwide and global clients. So if I have a customer and running a campaign in, Italy or somewhere else, why not go there too and see if I can get customers elsewhere? That's what my agency looks like when it's finished.
That's beautiful. I love it. And it's a great reason to go to Italy.
Yes, right? Anyway, really, I love to travel.
It's the best, right? I mean,
It really is.
I think I was having this conversation with somebody last night. The things we learn by traveling are the best learnings we could ever get. Perspective, the struggles we all have, how we're all the same in so many ways, and then how we're different as well.
Yes, and I actually encourage that on my team. We have what we call high season and low season in my company. So during our low season, I encourage everybody, hey, work remote anywhere for like a whole month if you can do it, or for a few weeks at least. But go do it, because it's true. When you travel, you just open your mind. And for us in advertising, it gives us more creativity because we see things from different perspective and like from a different culture. And that only makes us more rich when we are creating something.
That's well, What a great place to work.
Mm.
Encourage your employees to work remote for 3 or 4 weeks in a year. That's
Yes.
a beautiful thing.
Yes, we do.
Tell me about
And
your.
we also work from a gym, by the way.
Oh, really? Okay.
Our office is at the gym, at the co-working space on Lifetime Fitness. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes. We used to have an office. I used to have an office. Gosh, my first office was back on the Energy Corridor. And then the second office was in the Galleria on Woodway. So we did the whole thing. My office in Woodway was my favorite one because we had multiple rooms. We had like onboarding rooms, creative tension like room. But after COVID, I was the only one in the entire room. So it was very hard for me to push my employees to come back to the office just because we're paying a lease.
Yeah.
So once the lease was up, I was like, okay, guys, we're not going to renew it. And I just saw the opportunity. And I was actually looking for a gym myself. And we were going to go to a regular co-working space. But when I was looking for a gym, I saw the co-working space at the gym. And I'm like, this is perfect. I can add more value to my employees and work from here.
That's brilliant. You're the first person I've met that's has a co-working space at the gym. That's really cool. That's really
It's
cool.
really cool.
So tell me about your employees. How do you find them? How do you motivate them? How do you retain the really, really, really good ones?
So we have different learning days. And that's, I feel like, how we motivate, because we have a creativity contest every quarter. And then the other 2 months of the quarter, I guess, we do learning days. So they pick the topics that they want to learn. And on the creativity contest, everybody chooses a different category, and you have to present, your learnings and something creative using a new tool. That's how we stay up, because marketing changes constantly. There's new tools coming all the time. So how can I tell my clients this is the best tool if I've never tried the other tools? So that's what we do. And the way I find them is LinkedIn, just regular channels. We have a talent coordinator, and we go through a lot of resumes and just a regular process. We use a 4-hour system that I'm very familiarized from Action Coach.
Oh, you're kidding. Wonderful.
No, I have it, the whole thing. Like, we even have a phone number where they have to call and answer 3 questions with a recording and all of it.
And then you have them come in and eventually do a group interview?
Yes, we do the group interview.
So you're a fan of that
Oh,
system.
yes, I loved it. Yes, I learned so much when I was getting coached with Action Coach. And I have like all the systems in place and the processes that I have is because I created them with my coach.
I love it. So tell me, like, okay, so you got the hiring thing. What are some of the other best experiences you've had with having a coach?
Oh, well, you can grow your business in like 20 years, and your business will grow. Like, if you're at least trying to improve yourself, reading books. With a coach, it's like you have someone cheering you on and actually telling you what doors you have to open, basically, to get there faster. So instead of taking you 20 years, you can do that in 2 years or 3 years. So that's the big difference for me, having a coach. I remember the first year we had the coach, we literally doubled our business, like literally.
Wow.
So I think the impact is tremendous. Of course, you have to do the work. Don't get me wrong. The coach is not going to do the work, but it's worth it. It's really worth it. And it just it creates this habit of how you are going to work. And I wish I could show you, but here I have, the 90-day plan that you do with the Growth Club. I still do it. I do my 90 days, and I have it here in front of me, the little paper that I just take off the sticky notes and, and just put them back on. And you just create the habits.
Create the habits. That's brilliant. So you have accountability, you've got habits, you've got what doors to open and what doors to close. And I love the 90 days, and my clients love the 90-day work plan so much too, because you have 6, maybe 7 things, but 6 things you're going to work on this quarter, and we're going to accomplish them. And you can actually do it in bite-sized pieces.
Yes.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. And it's very rich because I have it right literally in front of me. So like behind my screen here, So I see it every single day. Right? You have very clear vision, the clarity that gives you. And it's forever. I think that's the key part. Because when you're getting coached, you know, like I was with Action Coach, I think total, I would say maybe 4 years. So I did 2 years the first time, and then we stopped because we were implementing and putting so many processes in place. And then we took a 2-year break and then came back. So all of that we implement, it's kind of like we make all these changes and I'm like, okay, we're running. Okay, we're ready to take the next step, right? So we went back because I knew that was the easiest way to make the next jump, right?
I like that you said that you do have to do the work, right? It's not like you go to your personal trainer and then they lift the weights for you.
They're
You
not going to be
lift
lifting the weights. No, that would be nice.
Even at Lifetime Fitness, where you have an office, they still lift
Yes,
weights for you.
you still have to do it yourself. Yes.
Give me a piece of wisdom that you've learned over the years. Like, what's one of your biggest ahas in running a business? Because you've been doing it since you're 12, for goodness sakes. So
Yes, I think if you stop growing, you start dying. And that applies for your personal life, for your personal like business, for everything. So I think owning a business is about always growing. And your business should always be growing. If you're not growing at least at 4%, then the inflation is winning. Your business should always be growing. Typically 20% is, I think, in my opinion, should be the average. But obviously more is the goal. And that also applies in your personal life because you have to grow as a person. And if you bring that culture into your business, then everybody else in your business is growing as well. So everybody's pushing in the same direction. And that also opens the conversation to, if you're growing, maybe you're not going in the direction that you thought you wanted to go. So it helps you shift sooner in life so you don't end up like 20 years later and be like, oh, I regret everything that I have, right? Or that I've done. Just because you are so aware of everything that you're doing.
That's brilliant. Okay. And so that's growth in education. That's surrounding yourself with the right people.
Mm-hmm.
Continue to improve your business with better processes, learnings, all of those things.
It's just because when you're growing, there's growing pains, right? There's discomfort. So now if you have that mentality, you're okay showing up in a group where you don't know anybody. Because you're growing, you're going to be growing. And, and I do that all the time with myself.
But keep putting yourself in uncomfortable positions.
Yes,
right?
I do that.
That's brilliant. Patricia, this is fabulous. I'm so thankful to be able to spend a little bit of time with you. Thank you for your wisdom.
My pleasure.
And congratulations on just continuing to run a great business. And I know you're going to be, you are already global, but you're going to be global someday.
Yes. I want to see the sticker of my company everywhere.
I love it. You will achieve that goal. I'm very confident.
Thank you, Warren. Thank you for having me. This was amazing.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.